The newest YouTuber turned horror movie filmmaker is Mark Fischbach, also known as Markiplier. This is his movie all around. He directed it, co-wrote it, he stars in it, he's practically the only actor. He even self-financed it, which was bizarre because there were no studio logos, something I'm completely not used to. All of the prerequisite AMC crap ended, and then the movie just started, and I was like, whoa. This is weird. So I really respect him making the ambitious move to make a movie like this. I have no bias here whatsoever. I don't watch Markiplier, but I have nothing against him. I don't know anything about him as a person. I've just never watched him. I don't really watch much gaming stuff. I also have not played the game. I didn't even know it was a game until yesterday. So I'm just here to see a movie and judge it as a movie. So Iron Lung actually has a really ambitious premise for a directorial debut like this. Basically, there was some kind of rapture event where all the stars and planets seemed to vanish suddenly, and only people who were on space stations remained. They're trying to survive. They found this moon that is covered in an ocean of blood. Mark plays a convict who is sent down in this little submarine that he's welded shut into to explore this ocean of blood, see if they can find anything that might be helpful to the survival of humanity. That's really cool. I like contained thrillers, little bottle stories, things that take place all in one location. I don't know what it is. Those just hit the sweet spot for me. I really enjoy them a lot of the time, and you got a nice looking practical set here as he's trapped inside this submersible for the entire movie. It's very claustrophobic, if that's the kind of thing that would freak you out. To me, the kind of stuff that freaks me out is the ocean, or specifically the things in the ocean, or even more specifically, the things I imagine to be in the ocean. He's down there in an ocean of blood in this sub. He has a camera that can take pictures of what's out there, and we know something is out there. And you don't even have to show it. You just have to make some noises, have the sub get rocked a little bit. My imagination is going to do all the work. I'm going to think that it's the worst thing possible, and I'm just going to scare myself. And when they do show these things, it's only in glimpses and little blurry pictures. And that's the best way to do it. Once again, keep the imagination working. You don't want to show the thing in full, having me wonder all the mysteries of what could possibly be out there is so much more effective, and I really like that. The ocean depths genuinely freak me out, and when you turn the water into blood, it just gets all the nastier. There's also the terror of the behavior of the other humans, because he is a prisoner. He has been promised if he goes down, does the job, comes back up, they will set him free, but at the beginning of the movie, he does come back up, and they're like, yeah, but you're already in there, so like, what if we just sent you back down? Press. And he goes back down, and there's nothing he can do about it. So there is also the horror of being trapped in here and not knowing if they will ever actually let you go free, if they will let you rise to the surface again at all, or if they're willing to just abandon you down there should anything go wrong. They say human life is precious because there's so few of us left, and yet he doesn't feel like he's being treated that way. Like I said, I enjoy the practical set. There's a lot of blood. There is literally an ocean of blood. And some of the practical gore effects you get a little bit later, as some weird things start to happen, were very good looking. And Markiplier does a really good job with his performance. He's genuinely solid. He has to carry the whole movie. There's barely anybody else in this. It's mostly just him in this metal room for the entire time. And I enjoyed watching him. I think he did a good job. For like 45, 50 minutes of this movie, I was like, you know what? This is solid. I'm not in love with this or anything. It's kind of just a guy in a room. But for what it's going for here, a directorial debut, adaptation of a game, this is interesting. But then the movie just won't stop. It just keeps going. This movie's 8 hours long. It felt like it anyway. It's 2 hours. And I was actually shocked when I saw that. I was like, what do you, it's a directorial debut, horror movie, one guy, one location. What do you mean? These contained thrillers are typically like 90 minutes. If you want to push it, maybe you can get 100. But what do you mean it's 2 hours? And I've heard that the game is very short. The game is like an hour-long experience. So this seemed like a strange choice. And now that I've seen it, yeah, this is inexcusable. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know if he was trying to capture the feeling of being trapped like our main character is, and that claustrophobia. But oh my god, dude, you gotta realize what kind of story you have and how to value the audience's time, because holy repetition. There is no reason this should have been more than 90 minutes. Even 90 minutes could have been pushing it. There are theatrical releases that are like 70 minutes long. Good Boy last year is a good example of that. You could have done something like that. That would have worked perfectly. Around the 45, 50 minute mark, I was starting to feel like, all right, we're still trapped in here. He's still looking at the gauges. He's still looking at his readouts. He's still wondering what's around him, and nothing new is really happening. No answers are really being given. I'm starting to feel it already a little bit. Now, if this was a 90-minute movie, this is when we would be ramping up to get into the climax soon, which would recapture my attention, but we're actually not even halfway through the film. There is so much time. The middle, genuinely hour of this movie consists of so little actually occurring. It gets so repetitive and stale because it's just still Markiplier's face, still the same little metal room, and nothing is changing. It really drags down the entire experience. It makes it very hard to judge the movie as a whole because I think there's a lot of merit here, there's ambition here. It's a self-financed indie movie that was released in many more theaters than initially planned just because of the fan outcry. They wanted to see it, and I think that's really cool. There are other movies I've seen this year that have been worse, that I'm more bothered by because they're just like this generic studio trash. But they're also easier watches because they're like throwaway little 90-minute whatevers, whereas this was more of an endurance test because I thought it was so egregious with the runtime. Also, if you're looking for a lot of story depth, you're not really going to get that either, and there can be a lot of value to mystery. One man trapped in a place, he has no idea what's around him, no idea what's going on. That can be really creepy. But again, it goes back to that runtime. If you're gonna make me sit through it for that long, you gotta give me something. There's gotta be some kind of payoff. If you're wondering any information about the rapture that happened at all, we get nothing, and that's fine. That's really just the setup for the whole thing. As for the events of the main character's past, we get these like vague references to things that he's done, why he's in prison, what his life was like beforehand. I wanted to know so much more about that. There were so many areas where I felt like I couldn't fully connect with him as much as I wanted to, even though I was liking the performance. We get these brief allusions to what happened, but I just felt like I needed more. And as for everything else, the things that he's down there to find, the things that are around him, what's going on with this person that he's been talking to over the intercom, who are they, like all the mysteries that the movie sets up that have some intrigue to them. Like, is he just gonna go stir crazy in this place? Is he gonna hallucinate some shit? Are there other people that have been sent down here before? Is he gonna find anything of interest? Are they gonna let him back up? What are they gonna do with him? Is there some deeper conspiracy? What could be down here? Like, there's a lot of questions, and not all of them need answers, but fucking some of them do. You gotta give me something. It's all kept so completely vague that by the end I felt there was no payoff to the fact that I just sat in that chair for 97 hours. I was shocked when the credits came up. The final shot, I was like, well, obviously that's not the final shot. Why would it be? That wouldn't make any sense. And then it just was. The movie was just over now, and I was like, oh! I like physically reacted in my chair, like, huh? What do you mean? So it's very frustrating. It feels very much like a video game, and that's an insult and a compliment. It's a compliment because it feels like this game could lend itself to being a movie with the claustrophobic thriller atmosphere there. But it also feels like, yeah, if I didn't know this was a game, I'd be able to tell, because it feels like it was meant to be a game first and foremost. And I don't know what that game is like. I imagine this is probably a pretty direct adaptation of that. So if that's what you want to see, you're a fan of that and you want to see it in movie form, this probably does the job, and you might really be into how long it is because it's just going to let you kind of soak in that blood-soaked world for longer. But I just feel like this focuses on the wrong things. If you're going to make the movie this long, you got to add depth to the story and characters rather than just adding more scenes where he's looking around the ship and taking pictures with the camera and still wondering what's going on. and repeating very, very similar dialogue over and over and over again. If you give me a decently tasty hamburger, I'm like, okay, solid burger. But if you bring out 10 more burgers and force me to eat them all, eventually I'm gonna be like, stop. You can't keep doing this. I'm going to vomit. Or in the case of the movie, maybe start to drift off a little bit, because goddamn, it's getting boring. I don't know what to rate this. I admire the ambition here, and I think Markiplier does a really good job with the acting. There's a lot of merit to this, and if he decides to continue acting and or directing, I hope he continues to improve. I think it's really cool that he got this made. If you're a fan of the game, if you're a fan of his, you want to check it out, then totally go for it. If it sounds like your kind of thing and the runtime wouldn't bother you, absolutely go for it. I think it's cool for him to get a movie in theaters, but I cannot actually go higher than a 5. For the beginning of the movie, I was thinking like a 6. I thought it was solid, but I can't really go higher than a 5. It could even be more like a 4, but we're gonna be around that range with the rating. It's not gonna work for a lot of people, general audience members who don't know the game, don't know Mark, and just wanna see a horror movie. It's gonna be way too slow and way too repetitive for them. But we'll see. We'll see how the reception to this goes. I don't know if there are gonna be a massive outpouring of Markiplier fans who are just way into it no matter what. I don't know if it's gonna get a lot of hatred. I'm just trying to tell you what I thought. Simple as that. Hopefully people can be normal. When YouTubers make movies, people have a really hard time being normal about that. But it's the internet. Nobody can be normal about anything, so not surprising. But please leave your thoughts in the comments on Iron Lung. I'd love to know what you thought of the game, how this compares, if it's a really good adaptation, if you thought the runtime was actually perfect, what you thought of the performances and the answers to the mysteries or lack thereof, anything. We can talk about it down there. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I hope to see you next time.